I'm ready
Okay,
to go
well.
live. Are you ready to go live, Tom Storey?
All right, I'm going live right now.
Go live. I just
Let's
clicked
wait
the
till this thing gets
button.
going.
I just clicked the button to see if we are actually going to go live. Now
Yeah, we are
getting
good to
some
go.
feedback from you.
I'm going
You can
live
hear me?
right now.
I can.
Let's wait till this thing
click
gets
the
going.
button. I just had
Yeah,
to.
no, it's working well on my end.
Hang on, no, I totally had volume coming in off of the stream. Okay, I think we're actually good now, but I don't really know. If anybody could tell me in the chat if we're okay, I think we might actually be okay.
So we're double teaming this. We're live streaming to 2 different channels, and Steve's computer, when he does anything, heavy lifting, sounds like it's about to take off like a rocket ship.
Can you
so
hear
anything
that in the
could
background
happen.
or no?
No, I'm just assuming that's what it's doing.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it's ready for liftoff.
All right, well, we'll let people slowly get in here. What do we got? What do we got in your stream? How many people?
13 people. Not bad.
Okay, we got 7 in mine. Slowly, we'll race to 100. Did you give people a warning that you were going live? Because I gave them about a 20-minute head start.
I pumped it out a little bit earlier, and I just put it up as coming out. And then I'm doing this now. I'm trying to do live streams about once a month to answer kind of market questions and all that stuff. So trying to get just people, answering questions, right? Obviously, everybody's question is it a good time to buy? Is it a bad time to buy? Is it a good, but hopefully a little bit more in depth than that if everything goes well.
It was interesting. I had 2 calls today from buyers, actually, like consultations to kind of get them ready and go over where the market's at. And both of them were first-time home buyers. Both of them were currently renting. Mm-hmm. And it was funny. They were like eager to get into the market. And I was kind of like, well, you actually, for the first time, you got a lot of options. They were both condo buyers. And but it was interesting. I think they just wanted to get out of renting. But one of them was just basically like, it's time. I just want to get in. So interesting that with everything going on and no one knowing what's going to happen, there still seems to be a level of people that are interested. But in the showings and offers and sales volume, I think those numbers will look different at the end of this month, because this is not a normal September.
It is not a normal September. But have we seen a normal September in a long, long time?
Maybe, well, September 21, maybe was decently normal.
21 was hot. 20 might have been,
but that wasn't normal.
Well, I guess nothing was normal.
That was crazy. Well, actually, maybe, you know what? The first normal fall market was probably last year in a 4-year period.
I think it was falling so much this time last year that it really, didn't really make a ton of sense. It was falling so quick. Actually, the majority of the fall was done by then, I think.
Well, the summer was even more slow last year than it was this year.
Well, so here's why I wanted to come on here with you today. Like, let's be realistic about right now. The fall market didn't start.
No, I'm still waiting for it to start.
Like, it just didn't start. We were all thinking, and it showed like it was. Actually, that's not necessarily true. Showings are happening like crazy.
We're getting actually decent showing volume. Just the offers are certainly down. Let us know, by the way, if you're in either my chat or Steve's chat. If you guys got questions,
I'm going to turn off your chat right now because my computer's saying they're not having a fun time with all this stuff going on. So let me see what happens.
Okay. Here. Yeah, it's okay. I'll watch my chat. Don't worry.
So what do you think? Are you seeing the same thing? Like, did you see just nothing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting when you say the fall market hasn't started. It started in one aspect in where like there's listings, like our inventory is now building realistically for the first one. Okay, so apparently there's an echo when Steve's talking, so I'm going to put on headphones on my stream.
That would be on your problem.
Yeah. Give me 1 sec. Okay, let me try to make sure Steve isn't echoing.
What would you... Oh, I got a question. From Janaby. What would you consider a normal fall market? So I guess to explain the marketplace, realistically, what we were used to for the longest time was nothing would happen in January starting at the beginning of the year, nothing almost halfway through February. And then where we would get to is we would see that kind of March 1st kickoff, and then you would go gangbusters till May long. And then you would basically take the summer off. When I got into the business, my business partner took 5-6 weeks in the summer and didn't miss much. So that was like 2009, 2010, 2011. And then September came around and you were back until about November 21st. You would go busy again. So from March 1st until, let's call it June 1st, that's when most real estate agents would do 60% of their business for the year.
Yep.
In that tiny little period. So at that time, I mean, we would think that that would be normal. We'd expect that to happen again. Then you would do nothing again in December. Every agent would do a little bit in December and then go away for all of January. And we're just not seeing that now.
It's been a weird market for a long time.
It's been super weird for a long time. I don't think it's been real, like, normal since, I want to say, midway through 2015.
Yeah, because even after that, the price growth that happened was absurd. Like not on the historical norms. We saw double-digit price growth for many, or at least in my market. It dipped off in 2017 with fair housing. But yeah, you're right. And you know, it's funny. I started in real estate in 2014. So I had 1 year of real market and then 9 years of craziness.
Well, it's weird though, because your market changed. Like you had, what was it? 2017 was a massive dip for you guys. And for us, I want to say it was what? End of 2018 and all of 2019. Right? It was like 2019 for us was terrible. And I remember being on like coaching calls with my coach and him talking about all of his Toronto kind of agents and them talking about what was going on and how that, like, what did you see? Like a 25% fall in 2017 in Ontario?
It depends on the markets. The stuff outside Toronto really is interesting. It's actually the opposite. Like when that happened in 2017, freehold properties took a dive, but condo market kind of stayed on. And then this time around when things changed, condos took a dive and freehold, went to the moon.
Really?
Well, in the pandemic for Toronto.
But now, like what's going
right now?
Yeah.
Well, right now, like good houses are still getting a few offers on them, but the condo market, finally there's lots of inventory and it's pretty slow. We have 9 condo listings on the market right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm seeing this happen. I'm getting the calls, it's showings have been okay, but I'm talking to my sellers every day and it's just kind of setting the expectations that like, even if you're the best price and you look good and we did the staging, it could still take a while here. Yeah. This isn't what it was. And frankly, like it's not going to get better by the end of the year. Let me know if you're in my chat. Someone said the live is slow. Are we slower than normal? Or are me and Steve just slow talkers?
Well, we're streaming through your software on your side, so I'm assuming you're slow on my side, and I'm probably a little slow on the other side. So this is we're definitely crossing streams here a little bit. So I will say on my side, if you go to my channel, it looks better. I don't know if it sounds better, but it definitely looks better. Sorry, we got to figure out these technical difficulties. What was the question?
It doesn't matter.
This is why we don't do the Tom Storey Show live.
Oh, okay. I got a question here. Someone's asking December, January. Oh, we're just slow talkers. Apparently.
Oh, okay. Well, that could be.
that actually adds up. I'll take that all day. December, January market expectations. Steve, you want to start?
If you want to buy property, just like last December and the December before that and the December before that and the December before that, those are the best. Well, maybe not 2021, but every other December is the best time. So if you want to buy property and get a deal relative to the prices in the year for the rest of that year, August, December. I am
historically, yes.
Yeah, I'm not super positive about the short-term market right now, just because it's showing signs that that's the way we're headed. It's, there are the changes in the fixed term rate, which everybody was sliding back into fixed term because they were so much more affordable. That's really what's crushing people. So bond yields going up, rates higher for longer is what's pushing people that way. I do have a question here on my side, Tom. Do you consider sub-markets like Cloverdale, that's where I am, Tom, in case you didn't know, better positioned to survive the lull? Your outlook for the next 2 years in Surrey. So Cloverdale and Langley, out where I am, Tom, is kind of the suburban. What's the
You're
nice-
like our Durham, right?
Kinda, but it's like, I guess it's the nicer place of the crappier city to live in, if you want to call it that, right? Like, let's be serious, right? Nobody moves to the Lower Mainland saying Surrey's where I want to be, but it is where everybody ends up because it's more affordable. But Cloverdale and then Langley, they generally are hotter. They actually saw the biggest fall in the Surrey market because it was so hot. We were at 178% consumption in December of 2021 in detached homes in Cloverdale. So like every home sold that came on the market, plus every one that was on the market last month, all sold in that December. So it was like your consumption was every single listing, basically. So generally, does it do better over time? Yes. The Surrey market right now, so we have a large portion of people that like to build their own homes, like a lot of kind of one-off builders. And those guys that were speculating to secure a property now and then build 4, 5, 6 years down the road, but they're holding on to that property. Those guys are the guys that are getting crushed right now. And we're seeing the detached housing market, I want to call it 1970s and older homes, are the ones where there's just tons of supply. If you want a house like mine, Tom, good luck. You can't find one. But if you want a house like a 1970s, what we call BC box with a, basement suite downstairs and 1,300 square feet upstairs to live in, good luck. Selling it right now is tough.
Is that because those houses are not as desirable because they're not updated and people are not willing to do the work? Is that why? Or just strictly just amount of inventory on the market?
It's because I think they're so expensive. They're so investor heavy. But generally speaking, they're very leveraged investors. So they're not like, these will be guys that will have put down 20% on a 1.4 and then finance the rest. So let's say you got $1 million mortgage, you're getting $4,000 a month rent, and your carrying costs are $7,800 a month. Like you're getting crushed.
Yikes.
So that segment of the market right now, if you want a deal and you want to pick up a house with a lot in Surrey, that is where the blood is in the water at the moment for those guys. Now, those aren't generally the nicest areas. So
Fair enough.
Something to consider there.
I would actually say that, because most of my business is done in like the core of Toronto, right? Like what we would call the 416 area code, real Toronto proper. I think the freehold housing in the city of Toronto is safer compared to the outer markets, because still going back pre-pandemic, the prices are higher in the city, but nowhere close to the craziness that happened in the outside markets. But I do think that the condo market will probably see more of a drop off here, because we are firmly in balanced market territory.
Yeah.
And we are on the road to buyer's market. And the last time we were fundamentally in a buyer's market in Toronto for condos was October 2020.
Okay.
So it's been a minute. So I actually think freehold housing, I think, will be okay, because there's none of it.
Yeah.
In areas that people want. Condos and outside Toronto, I think, could have more of a drop off.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to watch over the next bit, because the people getting stretched are the issue. There's a comment in my channel that says 2008 housing scenario is upon us. That's a very easy thing to say, but there's not a lot of knowledge in that statement, because Ninja loans.
The Canadian 2008, or what happened in the States in 2008?
No. I think what you're going to see, though, is you've got, there's no Ninja loans. There's no 125% financing. right? Like that's what they were doing back then. If you wanted in 2007, if you wanted to buy a house in the States, you could buy it for 400,000. You could finance it for 450. And then you could build a shop out the back or renovate it or do whatever you want. And then when the subprime mortgage collapse happened as a result of ninja loans and all the other stuff that went on down there, loose lending. Like literally you don't have to prove you're a human being to get a mortgage. Then when all that happened, those property values went down by, 50% in a lot of places. 40% is more realistic. And then the result was the other side of that is actually where we have a similarity, right? The renewal crisis about prices coming down and then people having high interest rates that they can't flip out of. That's where I see the similarity. So that's where I think we're going to have issues.
If you look at 2008 in what actually happened in Canada, I can only speak to Toronto's market because it's the only numbers I track. But if you went back to August 2008, in the middle of the slow, typical summer market when everything was happening, the city of Toronto had about 25,000 active listings, and sales volume just stopped. Everyone was scared to do anything. That entire year, prices went up 0.1% or something. But just to give context, right now we're still sitting at about 15,000 active listings. So we need another 10,000 listings on top of what we have now to get back to 2008 levels of inventory across the board. It's building up for condos, not yet quite for freehold.
Do you remember every time we talk, Tom, what I tell you that magic number here is in the Fraser Valley for active listings? Do you remember?
6,000?
6,000. Yeah. We're at 59 and change right now. So we're just about to switch into that spot that if the market stabilized, and I don't think it is, I think it's going to continue to slide for the fall. If the market stabilized right now, we're at that spot where it's like, oh, okay, we can go out and pick stuff. But to another point here that I see where somebody says they're watching North Van condos, and there's not much to pick from. It is very segmented. So North Surrey detached homes, of which you probably don't really want to live in, lots. Right? Cloverdale townhomes, of which you want to raise your family and can afford to get into, almost nothing. So again, where did you coin that? Was it on Canadian Real Estate Show that you said like we're not short of listing, or was it TK and Daryl that said we're not short of listings? We're short of affordable listings.
Well, not just that, but not just like we're not short of listings. I think there's enough listings right now in Canada for most markets. We're short of affordable listings, but then maybe even more importantly, even if they have more of a budget, the listings that you want don't exist. Like what you want in your price range, typically there's a limited supply of that. There's lots of stuff over $3 million I could show you in Toronto, but you probably don't want that or you can't afford that. And there's lots of condos I can show you in the $400,000 to $600,000 range. But unless you're a first-time home buyer or investor, you're probably not interested in that either.
I have a question on my channel. What is this is going to be a teaser, Tom. What are your guys' perspectives on the pre-sale markets? For that, I have to say, tune in to the Tom Storey Show this Sunday because
it's a good one.
We got a banger coming out, and one of the top pre-sale people in the Toronto area talking about that stuff and the situation that's in. Tom's pretty much on board with me. I'm even more so on board. Pre-sales are not where I would ever put my money.
Steve, people are saying that panic sellers still aren't out yet and the higher for longer narrative. But when do you see panic sellers coming out? What would need to happen for you to start seeing in the listings like motivated, must sell? Because there's probably people in that position, but they're not like shouting it at the buyers yet. They're still pretending they're a normal listing.
When do they come out? I don't think they do it till every penny's gone.
You think they're going to hold on till the very end?
When I start seeing people selling their cars they bought during the pandy and then they start looking at how am I going to make my mortgage payment, I think that's where they're at. They just seem to hold on forever and ever. And I think that's actually going to bite a ton of people. There are a bunch of people that won't bite a $50,000 bullet right now to save another 50. And that's where I'm not positive for the rest of the year. I don't think we're heading in a positive for the rest of the year. And I mean, what would we love is to go directly flat for a while. We always say that we would love to go flat, so I know exactly what to expect, and I can tell people exactly what to expect.
But I feel like we were having a similar conversation to this probably at a similar time last year. And we were talking about, okay, you know, how we're going to wrap up 2022 and when's the bottom of the market going to happen? And then this year started and we had 5 months in a row of growth, which was like shocking. Now we've had 3 months in a row of a dip, and I probably going to continue. But I think it's pretty fair to say, like, I don't think like next year can't start like this year started, because the difference is now it's, yes, the rates were still higher at the beginning of this year, but there was limited inventory to choose from. Mm-hmm. Now the rates are even a little bit higher and you got way more to choose from. And I think that's where you're going to see the pressure on the pricing. What are you smirking about?
I've got D10 on my channel here, so it's fun. He's got a comment every second. But I just to I was playing this thought experiment with myself about the marketplace. And let's say, for instance, we do go into craziness. Let's say we go and blow up. Let's call it 50%. Let's call it 60%. So I go back to, in my personal house, what I paid for it, right? 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
A goal I'm setting for myself in the next 7 years or so is to get to the next level house. The next level house for me is double the price of the house that I'm in right now.
Today's market price?
So like the next house that I would feel comfortable moving to, just for my, not for my price point, but for my, like, get more for my house, is $3 million plus. So if that's the case, then my house goes from where it is now to half. That other house comes down to half. I'd be super stoked to take on a $750,000 mortgage right now to get that house, when right now it would cost me 1.5.
Okay. I'm going to play the other side here for a second, because you just gave a great political answer that, yes, it does make sense to jump up if things were to crash off, if you're trying to get to the next one. That the math does make sense. But you bought your house 10 years ago, Steve, and you got great price growth, and you paid down a lot of it, and you're in a position you could do that. If I bought my house in 2021, 2022, I put 20% down. It's worth what I paid or less. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's already worth 15% less. Mm-hmm. I'm not in that same position.
You're not in that same position. You haven't owned real estate for as long as I have.
No, I know.
Do you know what the number one determiner of wealth is in the world?
I don't know. What is it? Real estate?
No, the number one. So if you if you take a person and go, what is the number one criteria for the most wealthy versus the least wealthy? Do you have pop-ups going on your screen right now?
I don't know. I'm not doing that. I have no clue what's happening.
Okay. I don't know either.
I don't know.
The number one determiner of wealth is age. No crap. The longest people have the ability to make money, the more money they have. Weird how that works. So
I think my stream is acting up. Oh, I think we're back. Okay.
Yeah, these streams are not going. Like, we should probably never stream 2 at 1 ever again. But I do have like 61 people. I hope people. I haven't asked anyone to click the like button yet, so I should have 59 like clicks here pretty quick.
Tom, I have 4 likes.
Tom, you go.
Hey, if you're on my stream, give me a like.
Hang on, I saw one here. I wanna see.
Wait, can I bring something up first before you do that? Because I thought that was a really good question.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys think about the first home savings account? $8,000 in January, $24,000 by 2025. Do you think by 2025, when buyers flock back, are people waiting for January 1st, making the fall market less attractive? Like and I guess this would be talking about people specifically buying their first property.
First fall home savings account, I think, is the only good thing the government's done in the last 10 years for housing. Right?
Agreed.
Literally, that is where I would be putting, if I was 18 years old, that's where I would put all of my money. until you can, whatever, it's only $8,000 a year for whatever, but it's way better than the TFSA right now because it's basically a TFSA and an RSP combined to
Yep.
get you into a house. So if you can max that out, do it. And if you are a parent looking to help your kid, help them max that out for the period of time. Because if you have 40 grand, start at 18, you can get up to that 40 grand over the next 5 years and then save a little bit more. If you can get a decent income, 25 years old, you get into the crappiest little apartment you can possibly get into. Here in BC, everything is open rentals now. Buy it, live in it, rent it out if you need to.
I would say that there's comments in my chat saying like, I wish it was more than 8,000 a year, which I would agree with, because yes, it's tax deductible. Yes, it's great, but you get to $40,000 and you're maxed out. And in most markets in Canada, that'll be super helpful. But in our markets, it's the benefits. Okay. Someone's also asking, is it a good time to buy a condo? I'm really interested, but frustrated. And my answer would be, are you going to own that property for minimum the next 5 years? Because if it's anything less than that, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I mean,
what do you think, Steve, in your market?
For sure, if you're gonna live in something. But here's the thing: we never say it. We never say speculate. We never say buy this and plan to flip the paper. We never say buy this place and expect to make 7% by next year or 15 or 35% by next year. We never say that stuff. We never say it. We just say buy it, hold it. Like, trust me, it's been really itchy with me. I've got the feeling on my condo. I got the feeling like, man, if I just cashed out on this thing right now, my house is mortgage free. Everybody's happy. I have no more debt. I can sail off into the sunset and I can get by on a minimal income. And then what? In 20 years, I'm exactly where I am now and I can't advance in 20 years. So if you can, for sure, buy. I have a video coming out. I think it's this Friday on my channel. You're not going to want to miss it if you think renting is good.
Ooh.
Because renting, it's titled Renting is Wrong. Renting is wrong.
Oh my God. At this point, are you just trying to get people mad at you in the comments? Are you going out of your way to stoke the fire? Or do you truly...
Should you... Here's what I mean by that. And obviously, I am abrasive in the way I say it. But is your best outcome possible to rent for the rest of your life? Is that the goal you should shoot for? So, for instance, I am a fat guy. Should I aim to be as fat as possible for the coming years? Or should I put a goal in place to try and not be such a fat guy? I should probably go for the healthier route. Same in your housing. I understand everybody can't buy. I get that. I'm just saying that shouldn't be your goal. Your goal is not to rent. You need to look at the options of being your own boss eventually. Yes, I've probably pissed everyone off.
I don't know if this is a joke comment, but I'm going to read it anyways because it's funny. I am 29. This is probably a joke, but I'm going to give them credit here. I am 29. I make $175,000 a year. I bought 3 PreCon condos in 2019, not in the not the GTA. I put $460,000. How effed am I?
You put down...
I hope it's a joke. No, between the 3 of them, they put down 450 grand.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to look at the whole thing, but that would be pretty ridiculous to buy. If you're 29 years old and you're buying 3 PreCons.
Well, I guess I hope you can close on them, but you're going to be negative cash flow for a long time, and you better hold those babies for 10 years each.
People don't understand. PreCons, they're not... I understand the PreCon centers prey on people and sell them the dream, but that is not your real estate agent telling you that information. That is somebody working for the developer. And of course, they're going to tell you why it's great. Just like when I go to a Honda dealership, they're going to tell me why the Honda's great and the Toyota's not.
Oh, can I give you a good example? Sorry to cut you off.
You can.
So I was in Florida recently for a conference, and we had an afternoon. So we had lunch at this area, and then we walked around. It was like this really nice mall, and they had all these watch stores. And so we were like looking around, and the Rolex store actually had a few models there, which is not normal. We didn't buy anything, obviously. But then afterwards, a guy I was with really wanted an Omega watch. So we walked into the Omega boutique, and you said something that clicked in the story, so I'll get to the point here. But the person at the counter, this lady was like looking at Omegas, and the salesperson thing. Of course, they're going to tell you that it's good because it's, that project. She's like, I just don't know. It's a really big purchase, and like I've kind of always wanted a Rolex. And the salesperson just like went quiet and goes, "Ma'am, would having a Rolex make you feel better?" Like, to try and like bring her shame that it's just an ego thing to try to sell the Omega. So, I agreed. Like, for pre-con places, if you're buying from the developer, of course they're going to tell you it's a great project because they work for that person. Someone in mine says, I have a dream landlord and save and invest $1,000 per month. For me, living in Toronto and renting is my best possible option. So it depends on your age and circumstance. All right.
Yes. Okay. If you look at renting on a month-by-month basis, there's an argument that is better. If you look at where am I going to be at 65 years old when I retire, and what will my expenses be at that time, there is no scenario where owning your own home free and clear is not a better scenario. Unless, I don't know, Elon Musk. I'm assuming Elon not watching right now, right? But like, let's be honest here. The majority of people, think about this. Think about how bad your life sucks. If you're living on Canada pension right now, plus old age pension, so let's say that's $1,200. Let's say you're probably $1,600 to $1,800 a month, and you just got evicted, and now your rent for your current place is $2,800 a month. Think about how bad your life sucks. You're screwed. Unless you have $1 million, and then you're going to pay that to somebody else in the future. If you own your own place free and clear, you will do better in the long run, and you won't have someone kicking you out every couple of years. I got one here. Steve, what's the Surrey Fleetwood specifically market looking like right now? How's the Fleetwood market long-term 2, 3? Well, you say longer term 2, 3, 5 years. That's short term for me. I think the entire market between now and 26 is a total question mark. And then long term, I think it's going to be insanity, just because of the amount of people that are being funneled in here. Fleetwood, Tom, just so you know, is an area where they've announced where they're going to bring transit through finally into Surrey. Sure. So it's very hot for investors. It's really good for like school districts and stuff. Personally, I grew up there. I wouldn't live there now. I would invest there, and I would invest there particularly in something like Fleetwood Rise. I actually that's an area I tried to buy. I tried to buy within 2 blocks of a SkyTrain station when I bought my condo, but it didn't work out. Seller wasn't willing to let it go for market. So I bought in Cloverdale, of which I'm very happy I did.
I've got someone here asking, at what point does a condo stop appreciating or become a bad investment? Like when monthly payments hit $600, $700 a month. So there's no like perfect science to this, but my thing in Toronto is like, if maintenance fees on that condo are already over $1 per square foot for how big the unit is, at some point, to me, that's not going to raise at the same rate. Now, maybe we get to a point that number is $1.50 because all the newer ones. Our average is probably 80 cents a square foot, but the buildings that are older, lots of them are over a buck a square foot for condo fees.
Wow. Mine's less than 50 cents.
And I would say, like, purely not as lifestyle, but as an investment, I started my real estate investment journey buying condos because that's what I could afford. My goal, I've now liquidated all of them and moved that money to freehold other than one. And the reason being is just because I'd rather have dirt at the end of the day here. So that's my thoughts, but I don't know if there's an exact age. It would depend on where the market's at. And I always kind of track the growth or the delta between what's the average condo price, what's the average townhouse, what's the average semi, what's the average detached. And when they get too close, you know something's going to happen. Either condos fall off or freehold drops off. So that would be my thought process.
I got an interesting one here, and I'm going to assume Gurevjeet sounds like maybe from India at one point, but they were asking a question. With immigration showing down. So I'm assuming that says slowing down significantly due to the Canada-India spat.
Oh, yeah.
Visas are being canceled, yada, yada. Is this the Black Swan event? Could possibly be.
Could be.
That is,
Could
so
be.
like Nolan always says, right? It's something you don't see coming that's going to change things. I could see that affecting things. I don't know, though. I'm assuming if you want to leave India, I mean, maybe their propaganda is good enough where they put out a travel advisory. It's not safe for people from India to travel to Canada anymore. Like, come on, guys.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, I don't know about that. You obviously never been to Surrey. Like, we got 65% Indian population now. Like, guys, let's get serious here. But could that be an effect? Would that possibly slow down immigration? I think it could. I don't think it would it would slow down immigration from that country. If you opened then up the doors to other people from the Philippines, from China, from wherever, from Africa, to open the doors to come here to replace those people, I think they would be more than happy to come. That being said, I really, really, really wish they would get a little bit more responsible with the amount of people that are coming in the door, especially after we find out that it's 1 million people every year now that are even uncounted.
I'm going to do some rapid fire question answering here because I got a little bit behind in my chat. First one is, do you see Bank of Canada raising interest rates many more times? I mean, I think at this point with inflation, October 25 points is a high possibility. That could change, obviously.
It'll be 20, and then you've got 25 in October.
I would think so, right? So maybe that's happening. Who knows for December? So that's the first one. Second one is, hey, Tom, think about buying a condo as an end user in the Willowdale area. Would you suggest a $700,000 condo in a 15-year-old building or an $850 condo in a 5-year-old building if everything else is the same? I guess a few things. What are the maintenance fees on both of them? Because at the end of the day, you're buying a monthly carrying cost. You're not just buying the purchase price. So if they're equal at the end of the day, then it really just comes down to which one do you like more. But obviously buying a slightly younger condo, even at a higher price, may give you more room for growth in the future. But the older condos, in my opinion, have way better floor plans anyway. So buying those and maybe updating them personally. But again, that's like, are you buying it because you want it to go up in value, or are you buying it because you just want a really nice place to live?
What is that listing I saw you put up the other day with like 2-story tall?
You know what's interesting?
I was like, I want to live there.
That's my most expensive condo listing right now. It's listed at $950. It's a 1,400 square foot, 2-level Mimico area. Really cool loft. I've actually had more showings on that than any other listing since I listed that, even though it's the highest price. So I don't know how to make sense of the market. Like, you'd think that would be the one that would be slow. And then last one, do you suggest buying pre-condo? I love it.
Never.
Skrinko has TM'd pre-condo. I love that people are saying that now. You suggest buying pre-condo in the GTA releasing right now with occupancy in 2028, 2029. What I would say is it's Steve, hold on. What I would say is it's easy to talk crap about pre-construction because people that bought 4 years ago trying to sell now are getting absolutely smacked, right? So it'd be easy to say, well, that's a dumb investment. I don't know what interest rates are going to be, and it depends on what purchase price you buy it at now. It could be a great investment, but also if I think it's more like where do you personally think the market's going to be by 2030? And that would help because I can't. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't. I'd rather buy like a duplex or a triplex and put my money there. But
I have Half Rich commenting, I bought a townhouse in Maple Ridge a few months ago. Probably can only sell it for what I need to cover my mortgage now. Just going to have to wait it out. Yeah. I think it's great. You bought, you're in, you're good. Get that goldfish mentality gone. 3 months ago does not make a real estate investor. That makes a quick flip / speculator, right? You want to look at, project your values. And I think this is something that I've got on my agenda for the Tom Storey Show coming up. So we're not going to address it here, but look at CMHC's latest report where they think house prices are going, right? That's a teaser for the future. That's a teaser for the future. Don't cover
I
that.
was shocked. I was shocked by that report. I knew we were like not where we needed on housing inventory, but I'm shocked that CMHC said that they thought the market was going to go up that much in the next 6 years, I think.
6 years. So,
Crazy.
but that
Well,
would be
by
in
the
the
way, just to
proper
be clear,
timeline.
CMHC also said some stuff when the pandemic
Yeah.
happened on the opposites, and they couldn't have been more wrong. So I'm not going to give them credit
Yeah.
just because they're saying it's going up either.
Pandemic hit and they said whole house prices are going to drop 40% and they increased 100.
Yeah.
They didn't see the government spending coming though.
Is $1,300 a square foot for a condo good in CO2? I mean, it depends on the building. I can tell you in CO1 and CO8, there's really good buildings at $1,000 a square foot right now resale. So, but if that's the area you want, it's a little bit more expensive in that zone.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I am seeing the issues, and I'm begging people to start paying attention, and they're just not. And that's where my issue is, right? Like the people that are going into pre-condos right now, I don't know what information you're getting. I don't know. Like if you are not a savvy investor and you want to buy that building, here's something I thought of. So I just recently sold a beautiful unit. I love this unit. My uncle lined up for a building called the Hub in Surrey for the pre-sale center. And he's like, hey, I'm in this line. You know, they might not even let me in. This is 2017.
Okay.
The sticker price on the unit he wanted to buy was $719 plus tax, I think. I just sold a unit to a client in there for, let's call it 6 figures less than that, like a couple weeks ago.
Similar unit?
Similar unit. Now, which floor it was, I can't really remember which one my uncle was looking at, but whatever. I told him don't buy that unit in 2017. I specifically said, and he didn't buy that unit. But the reason this comes up to me is because the Hub and the Hub 2, this particular floor plan that my clients bought, I want to own that one day. I want to own that layout one day for myself. Good investment or not, it's built like the layout is like a certain type of car you buy just because you like that car. The coolest part of this thing is it has an eating area. It's not like just one big square room. But the backsplash when you're doing the dishes is like a 10-foot window out onto the street, right? Or out onto whatever's near you. So like there's no building built like that anywhere. And I just think like the layout is so cool that I am seriously considering there's a very good chance that might be the future, my next future purchase may be in that building because I think it's so awesome. And just for that.
Yeah, it's a wow factor though. We've talked about this lots, right? In a crappy market, units, houses with a wow factor still sell because they have something that all the cookie cutter stuff don't. Yeah, I would agree. Mark in my chat that says he bought a PreCon in 2019 for $380. Should I keep it or sell it? Obviously, I'd need way more info, but this isn't the market to like think you should sell. Just like hold it. I would say unless you absolutely have to sell it, this isn't a great market to try and sell it in. So I would hold that thing.
Here's the real question I got for you. How high do you think rates are going to go right now, Tommy? Tommy Toronto?
What, fixed or variable?
Yes and yes.
I'll tell you what. I hope not much higher because I've got a renewal on the horizon. And can I just say something? And this is where I do agree, actually, for the most part, with a lot of people that look at the next 18, 24 months as a dark place in Canadian real estate. How many people do you think, obviously not watching this stream right now, sitting at home, have let's say 2 or 3 years left on their 5-year fixed at 2.5%. That kind of hear what's going on, but they haven't felt anything yet, right? At least on the housing side of things. The variable rate people have been getting this slow burn of slow increases, but now it's a huge chunk, but they've been like kind of prepping for it. The people that have no idea what's going on They bought a house. They haven't talked to the real estate agent in 2 years since they bought it. They don't really pay attention. They're one day in 2-3 years from now, depending on where rates are at, they're going to get a call and say, hey, your payment is up $2,000 a month. Okay, what are my options? Well, no, like, this is your new payment. Do you want to keep your house? This is your new payment.
Yeah.
They're the people that are going to get smacked because they have no idea what's coming. And who knows where rates are going to be in that time frame. But I'll tell you what, they're going to be higher than they were when they got the mortgage. That's my concern. There are people like that have no idea it's coming because they're not educated because they're living their lives.
It sounds like you've already watched my video for next week. That's basically where it's coming down to. 2025, 26. If we don't have rates lower than 5.25, stress test level, that's where the issue's going to come.
Yeah, fair.
Right? That's where people are going to get, because 90% of people, listen, I've got 64 people on this stream right now. So there's only 39,935,000.
I've got 74 online. So
more people, whatever that number is, that are like, they're just not paying attention, man.
I know.
They're just
That's what I'm saying. They have no idea what's coming.
Attention. And they don't know that their payments are going to go up, and they're going to walk into the bank, and their bank's going to go like, cool, you know that $399 a month mortgage payment you had per 100,000? That's $622 right now, or $662 right now. And let's face it, we will probably hit 7% 5-year fix by the end of the year, which is insanity to me. And we will, on variable rates, which are going to be the safer way to go very soon. We were.
I never thought I'd hear Steve say that.
Mm-hmm. I think, I mean, now I've owned real estate for a long time now, right? Like coming up on almost 20 years. I think there's a very good, my goal now when my mortgage comes up, if it's not paid, will be whatever the lowest rate is, period. Because that is going to be the way I pay it down the fastest, because it's so small. It's so small.
Right.
Right. So I can just hammer down. And if I get hit with $100,000 bill tomorrow, I'm not going to be happy. Not going to crush me. Right.
$100,000 bill for what?
You name it.
Oh, just in life.
In life,
okay,
right?
Happened.
If my roof, refrigerator, and my foundation,
furnace and AC
cracks again, and all these different things happen all at the same time, a $50,000 assessment on my condo, I mean, it's going to cost me $600 more per month, right? So it's not the end of the world for me. A lot of other people aren't in that scenario. Like I'm telling people right now that are, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how a lot of people.
Would you take a 5-year fixed? If it right now, so someone says, do you think a 5-year fixed term is a good option right now if you can get the rate between 4% and 5%?
Oh yeah, anything. You're lucky right now to get under 6%.
Really?
Yes.
I haven't looked recently.
Yes. All the big banks are 6.2, 6.3. And
for
so
a 5-year fixed?
Yeah. Here's where the market has gone. So I had clients in June that were buying properties for 4.89, 4.79 at credit unions here in BC. And now it's 1.5% higher. So that in itself is going to put 15% pressure on the market just between June and now. So if you can go to a credit union right now and get a 5.79, I would look at it really hard. I would personally look at it. If I could get anything under 5.5, I would lock that thing in for 5 years, no problem. Because
for 5 years.
For 5 years, no problem at 5.5. Because remember, every day that you go at a higher rate, you need 2 days on the other side to compensate for that. So if you're only going to take 3 years, right, at 5.89 or 6 or 6.2, you're going to have rates at like 4.5 in 2025 to make that make sense. It's not going to happen.
Someone said they saw a YouTube channel that was training realtors saying you should contact your clients and say, it's nice to cash flow, but but you should also consider cashing out. Would you call your clients and say the same? You know what's funny is we were doing a training this morning for the boot camp that we do, and we had 40 agents on the call, and I was telling them what you actually need to do is call your client to say, hey, do you know when your fixed rate is expiring?
Yeah.
Do you know when your mortgage renewal is? Because I think some people have no idea what's coming. So no, I personally wouldn't make that call. In fact, right now I'd be telling people to hold unless they really need to sell, because if you're coming out in the condo market, you're gonna have to be really well priced to even find a buyer. If you're a house, you'll probably find a buyer fine, but less people are investing in freehold in Toronto.
I mean, here's the thing. As a real estate agent, you always have to be looking for business, and you always have to explore every option with your client. There are a lot of people that become landlords that realize they are not to be landlords. And if they are thinking about, I'm telling everybody right now, if you're thinking about selling in the next 2 years, if your goal is higher price,
right,
probably now better, right? That being said, I said the exact same thing last December, and how friggin' wrong was I for 6 months in a row, right? So you need to look at those things on an individual basis. Of course, there are some people that should cash out. There always is. That's what a market is. It's buyers and sellers constantly interacting. There's right times for buyers to move in. There's bad times for buyers to move in. Unfortunately, what buyers don't understand is the worst markets are the best markets for them to buy in, which frustrates the heck out of me. I'm going to buy when the market's good. Don't buy when the market's good, because the market is good for the guy you're buying off of, not for you, you dummy.
But Steve, the prices will continue to drop, and I'm going to wait to get the best price.
Of course.
Okay. So you're an idiot. Okay.
Yep. Totally.
Someone's asking us to talk about the Calgary market. Honestly,
don't know.
I don't know anything about the Calgary market.
I looked at Alberta to buy an investment. I ran away as soon as I did my research, let's call it, on quality of tenant. I didn't want anything to do with it anymore. Here's one. When you talk about hold periods, 5 years would be an ideal hold after you have bought.
Minimum.
100% before you move up. So if you're moving up, Tom, how long did it take you to move from your first condo to your second condo?
This isn't going to be a good answer because the market went up 100 grand on my value. Like, I got lucky. So I did it really quick. I did it in 2 years, but that wouldn't have been the path if the market didn't move.
What was your motivation to move in only 2 years?
Had an opportunity present itself and moving in with significant other. Okay. So it was like life.
Upsizing your life.
Yeah.
So I was in my condo for 4 years. I was in my townhouse for 4 years. I owned my first investment condo for 4 or 5 years. So that's about right. I didn't think I would be in my current home as long as I am, because I thought I would do the upgrade. And the plan, I think, should be 4 to 5 years. If you're really smart with your money, actually locking in 4 years is a better lock-in for most mortgages than a 5-year. I don't know. Yeah, I think your move up. If the problem I see is a lot of people have this idea that they're going to buy this property and they think 5 years is a long time hold, and that is where things go south super quickly. They're just not going to go well because, for instance, if the market does tank in 3 or 4 years from now and things do get bad, and I don't mean tank as in values, I mean tank as in it's really hard to get rid of your asset, right? Because Polyev gets in, immigration stops, economy goes to crap, all this stuff happens, and it's less liquid. It sucks. It sucks to sell in a crappy market. And that's why we call it a crappy market. It's good to buy in a crappy market. So you should plan to be there. So one tip I do there is I have always bought a property that I can, one, move into my own if I needed to. And I've always bought a property where it had a little more space than I needed. And so I didn't have to move from my townhouse. I chose to move from my townhouse because I could have easily, my townhouse was 2,000 square feet. I could have easily raised a family of 4 of us in that house, right?
Yeah, I don't know what it's like these days, but I remember talking to mortgage brokers a few years ago, and it was like there's a percentage of people that actually get to the end of their 5-year rate, and it was not what you thought. It was like 60 something percent, like most, or no, I think it was that's the
Other
people
way.
that break it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, the
60%
other
break.
way. Now, I don't know with today's environment if I think people are going to maybe ride it out a little bit longer. I got a question here from Zach saying, are there any pockets of Toronto that you still feel are undervalued or that you think will hold better value? I will say, so I did a video a while back where it was like, what pockets of Toronto can you still buy freehold real estate under $1 million? And some of the areas I personally wouldn't buy in because they're not the safest areas in my opinion, but there was one that actually had the most options, and it's the EO6 area, which would be like it's Scarborough, but the Birchcliff Cliffside area. Now, I drive by that area all the time down Kingston Road, and the reason I'm saying it is because if you know like the beaches area of Toronto, anything south of Queen, there's a massive premium on those properties because it's close to the water. Then if you go up and you're on Kingston, you keep going and you get a little bit more into Scarborough because Victoria Park's kind of where it starts there. If you keep going, I think eventually the south of Kingston Road, there already is a bit more uptick in prices there, but I think long term they're still by the water. You can see what's happened. The city's kind of expanded, so that's my guess. Where I personally think there's opportunity where it's quote unquote affordable compared to the rest of the city. Um, and it's an area that's growing a lot, but that's just my wild guess. I have no guarantees on that.
James in Kelowna said, "Are you listening to your boyfriends again?" His wife said that. Yes, James, you, me, and Tom are all boyfriends. I appreciate that.
Nolan's gonna be jealous. Nolan was in my chat earlier. So was Jordan, actually.
I didn't get them over here. Don't think the market will drop as long as rental prices keep raising. Okay, interesting point right now. What happened the last time the market dropped last year? A substantial amount. What did rents do? They went through the roof. So now that I suspect detached is coming down, and I'm assuming townhouses are going to follow it, are we going to see rents skyrocket even further?
Well, I don't know. There's 25,000 new condos coming to the market in Toronto, and I would guess 8 out of 10 of them are going to be rentals.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
no, I think rental prices should eventually. I don't know about the entire country, but
what's your increase
in Toronto,
for next year?
My guess,
no,
or the actual?
What's your allowable increase?
2.5.
Really? They only did 2.5 again?
Yeah, but keep in mind, after November 15th, 2018, none of those buildings have rent control at all.
That's right? Crazy. Yeah. We are definitely there. Yeah, we're 3.5. I didn't do the full 3.5 for my tenants, but we're at 3.5. And then even those numbers for market is still $300 under market for both of my units. It's crazy.
Also, just to follow up with Zach's question, yeah, Oakwood, Vaughan, I would live in that area. We've helped a few people buy there. What is going on? I am not doing this. I have no idea what's going on. I wonder my streaming software has a mind of its own.
Did somebody just put congratulations in your live stream, maybe?
I don't know. I have no idea what's going on.
Something's going on. You're probably streaming in India somewhere.
I have no idea what's happening. James said that area I talked about has horrible schools. Yeah, listen, like there's a reason why. I don't know. I've never lived in that area. I've never sent kids to that schools. There's a reason why it's cheaper right now, right? But if it was, the question was just undervalued at the moment. Steve, you've had any issues with tenants not paying? Not for you, but for your clients?
No more than usual. I think a lot of tenants are paying whatever they can right now because they're getting a better deal than anywhere else. There is an argument right now, and what we're actually seeing some clients do it too, where their rents are so good and they're so low that they're staying there and they're even buying properties and then
Staying in their
rentals. Think about it. If you got a $1,200 a month rental that today is $2,500, you buy a condo, you feed that thing $400, $500 a month. You're still laughing on the other side. And then in the event that you get kicked out, you kick out your tenants and you got somewhere to go. Right? Like it's kind of a no-brainer. So there is some thought that like just on a monthly basis, having that like a low rent, taking advantage of that long term, you want to be the best tenants possible right now. We're seeing some tenants that are moving just to get to a new spot. Oh, we want a new, nicer spot. It's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. At higher rents.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be making a lateral move because it's going to cost you $500 more than you're probably currently paying if you were renting pre-2020 maybe, and you're still in the same space.
Lauren has a question on mine, Tom. Thoughts on buying an investment property in another city? How far would you buy away from where you are?
I bought across the country, so I'm not the person to ask, but that was a whole different scenario. If it was just you buying it, I mean, I'd like want to know someone in that community that could help with things if things were to happen, or hire a property management company. For me, if it was just me dealing with it with nobody else involved, I'd say for me personally, maybe I'd go 2 hours outside my market.
Yeah.
But after that,
I bought 3 blocks from my place.
But what a shocker.
That's a different thing for you though, right? Like that's, I mean, you're part of the money. You're not an active partner, right? Is that how that works?
I mean, I'm involved. Yeah. I'm part of the LP.
Okay. Yeah. But it's an LP. It's not like, Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's limited partnership for everybody that's listening along.
Is the Vaughan Metropolitan Center a good place for investment to buy a condo for an end user? I mean, honestly, I don't do a ton of business out there, so I can't tell you what it's like to live there, but I do know a lot of people that like it. But I would say it's interesting, right? Like you look at when I started selling real estate, it was very clear. You want to buy a condo in Toronto. Okay, downtown's expensive. You go to Mimico to get a better price, which used to be the case, or you go to Yonge and Sheppard to get a price, or you go further north and it's cheaper. They've kind of all equalized. Mimico's expensive now. Yonge and Sheppard's expensive now. Vaughan's launching at projects at $1,200 a square foot. So I think it just depends on if you have family in that area. Are you picking that specifically over other pockets of the city for a reason? That would be my answer. Because otherwise, honestly, I don't know much about Vaughan.
Tom, I see you have 87 people watching, and I have 68. So I guess you're beating me right now. I have 29 likes though. Could I get more likes, please?
Can I say the same thing? If you're on my channel, my likes aren't really showing. Oh, 21. If you've been enjoying this conversation with Steve, if you could throw us a like, and if for some reason you're on either of our channels and you're not subscribed to us, join our community. I was thinking these live streams, I actually really enjoy them. It's easier to do it with somebody else than just myself, but maybe this becomes like a bi-weekly thing. I think every week would be tough, but maybe every other week.
There's not enough to talk about. There's not enough to talk about.
I think there is.
Maybe there is.
The conversation is just answering the questions, though, right?
Yeah.
Like we don't even need topics. We just come on and chat with people.
Yeah. I got one. Is Abbotsford the next city to boom? I personally don't believe so. My thoughts are Surrey is going to get crazy for the infrastructure that's being put in downtown Wally and Surrey. I just wish they would put in something like a convention center, arena, or sports field or something there. Hotels would be nice. That would be a great spot. But Langley, North Langley right now, Tom, you wouldn't even believe it. If I take you out there, you're going to be like, okay, this is the bushes. And then there's just a high rise coming out of the trees, right? Like they've gone, okay, we're going density. So North Langley, I think, is going to get a lot crazier and busier. Mind you, Langley traffic, I think, is designed to keep people in Langley longer. But Abbotsford, here's what we used to have. I don't know, Tom, if you've been in the business long enough or if you would ever experience and go this far, but we used to have a ton of people that would move a city over. They would put 15 to 20% in their pocket, and then they would get the same house or maybe a little nicer and put money in their pocket. That's gone. So you used to go, okay, I live in Surrey. I'm going to move to Abbotsford. I'm going to put 250 grand in my pocket and I'm going to get a nicer house. It's all gone. Can't do that anymore. Or I'm going to move to Chilliwack. Like people used to retire to Chilliwack. Now they have to retire to 100 Mile House or the Island or something crazy like that. So I don't think Abbotsford's going to boom. I think by the time the population really explodes, it's going to be huge everywhere. So I think that'll be okay. But an area that, this is totally off the cuff, and please don't invest there at all if you're listening to this, but there's an area in Chilliwack called Ryder Lake that is half ALR land reserves and half not. I think 30, 40 years from now, 50 years from now, Ryder Lake in Chilliwack is going to be opened up immensely.
You heard it here first.
I have no idea if they're even looking at that for the future, by the way. I haven't seen city plans. I haven't seen anything. I just sold a property up there a while ago, and I was like, I can't believe all this land is within an hour and a half of Vancouver.
Okay, so I'm going to rapid fire some questions here. Would you recommend a townhouse detached versus a condo in the current market for an investment property? That's lots of different price points we're talking about. If it were me and I had the higher end price point, I would probably look at a freehold property that has a basement income suite or is already split up into 3 units. That to me would be the best buy. Columbus and Thixon and North Whitby, couple big developments that sold into the height of the market. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what happens with these developers that bought in when things were really high. Oh, Steve, this one's nice. Hey, guys, thanks so much for all the insight and bringing on guests from outside point of view. Really appreciate the work you put in.
Prank caller. Prank caller.
Who said that?
We appreciate that. Thank you.
What are you guys seeing in the assignment market right now? Do you consider assignments for your clients, or is it more of a specialized realtor thing? So I actually took an assignment this morning from a client because I'd helped her sell her house. I did not help them buy it. And the conversation we had this morning was basically like I was just delivering bad news to people.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want to sell it. So, but no, I don't really try to get involved in that. That's probably more pre-con specialist territory. But it's tough to move. It's tough to move those right now. I'm a high income earner in Ontario. I want to eventually buy a house, but currently comfortable renting. No increase in 3 years. Fair enough. Continue building a down payment or get ready to start looking soon. Maybe take Steve's advice from before. If your rent's super low, maybe if you can afford to buy the property you want, buy it, but don't move into it right away. Rent it out. But just know if you do that, you're not going to get your first time home buyer credit. You got to move in within 9 months.
We had your guys' first time home buyer credit where you get the $8,000 anyway. We don't get any exemption if we're over our 500,000, right? So
really?
Yeah. So, 5 to 5 1/4. There's a sliding scale.
But I think our land transfer tax is not. Is it not more expensive than you guys?
Yeah, we're a bit under 2%.
Okay, yeah, I think like if you buy $1 million house in Toronto and you're not a first time home buyer, it's $30,000 land transfer tax.
So 3%.
Yeah. Expensive.
Yeah, so we're basically 2%. It's a little bit less than that until you go up to the higher ones, then goes 3%, 5%. But we don't get any exemption if you cross 5 1/4,
which is silly because
that number was set.
Over.
That number was set in 2017. Yeah. So prices have doubled since 2017. So the first time buyer in BC should be, if the government was paying attention, should be $1 million. But they make at least $4 billion a year, the BC government does, off of land transfer tax. So if you think that's going to happen, good freaking luck.
You know what's interesting? I did a video on this it was 2021. The city of Toronto, just on the municipal land transfer, made over $1 billion. This year, with our sales volume, they're going to make half what they made the year before and the year before that. And that's going to impact our city's budget because they were so reliant on this money.
Why do you think the government loves it doing that way? Why do you think somebody makes inflationary policies to increase the tax base? I mean, I don't think people understand what's going to happen when we get, by the way, 2020 or 2030, the carbon tax is going to be 61.5 cents per liter on gas, plus GST on top of that. Good luck. All you green thumbs out there, man, you're going to be poor and riding the train in your 15-minute cities, man. I love a 15-minute city, by the way. I would love for that.
Oh, my God. Oh, by the way, actually, I don't want to spoil anything, but I know someone who knows someone who the guy who originally started that.
Yeah.
And he's just been trying to make some connections for me for the podcast. So I think that would be a wild episode. Did you guys talk about the removal of taxes on purpose-built rentals? We haven't officially talked about this. I think it's obviously a good thing if it gets them built. You know, it's a good thing. If it'll build more rental inventory.
But what is it?
The removal of the GST on the developers so that they can bring more units to the market and build faster. It's less expensive per unit. So it's good.
For purpose-built rentals.
For purpose-built rentals.
So
it's not going to help people own real estate, but it will hopefully bring down the rental prices because there's more inventory.
I am going to share my thoughts on this on a future episode of the Tom Storey Show because I have it on my agenda to talk about. I've actually got a list. Next time you and I actually get to sit down and do an episode together, I've got like a month's worth of news stories that I want to give my stupid 2 cents about.
I think that would be fun. What are your views on PreCon Condos? It's so interesting. Like, even though the PreCon market has taken a nosedive,
people love it.
I still probably get more questions about it. It's really interesting.
People love it.
As an investment in Pickering, it's closing in 2027. It's just under $1,100 a square foot. I would just say, okay, if you're looking at that project, just look across the street. Is there anything available now, and what's it selling for per square foot? How much would that have to raise by 2027 to get on par with what you're buying this new one at? Are you not buying something new now because you don't have the down payment and you want the extended deposit structure? Is it just because you want something new? I would say I'm more optimistic about PreCon moving forward than I was previously, but it all depends on the project. And again, to kind of give a little
plug it.
I can't even talk. Give a little plug for the that's the word I was looking for. Give a little plug for the podcast. We actually asked someone that's very active in that market, like how do you pick a winner in today's market? And they gave their top 5 breakdown. So Sunday morning at 9 a.m. we got that covered.
My wife must have been watching the live stream because I just checked my phone and she sent me some pretty funny messages about shit I'm saying. So Don't say that. She's much more sensible than I am. I only have 58 people and 38 likes. Hey, my ratio is better than yours at least. You got more people watching, but
congrats. Take your small win.
Got to win at something here.
Okay, I don't know how to answer this question because I haven't followed this story as close, but Steve, I'll bring it up for you. Not sure how many business owners you guys know, but the CEBA loan deadline, January 2024.
Another one I have on my list for a future episode.
But give us a little taste. I've paid mine back already. It's done, so I'm out. But what about the people that don't know it's coming? You're going to have to owe some money.
If you don't know it's coming, you're a dummy.
They make it very easy on online banking, just to click a button, and it's all easy to pay back.
Okay, I'm gonna totally do a bait and switch. Is that a bait and switch? You put out the bait. I'm gonna do the switch. I have that, and again, we're gonna talk about it. It's on my list. I don't want to spoil everything we're going to talk about. But here's where I want people to be right now. So, big bad old TIF lowered the interest rates to freaking 0.000 back in when the flu happened. And then we did that for 2 years at that rate. But when he dropped them, he said they're going to be very low for very long. And he said we won't start increasing rates until end of 2023. Cool. Now, that didn't happen. Beginning in 22, things started going crazy, right? But people that didn't prep, for instance, when you took that loan, they told you how long it was going to be paid back for. When you took that mortgage, they told you rates are not going to be this low forever. Now, did anybody expect them to get here? Of course not. But are you telling me you didn't expect to pay back that loan at all? Did
Well,
you
I hope so.
Did you hear something like a large portion, not a large portion, many tens, if not hundreds of people at the CRA took CERB and they got fired over it? Did you hear that? They knew they didn't qualify for it. They took it anyway, and then they all got fired for it. So
I did
what
not
I'm
hear
saying
that,
is
no.
we should now know that this was coming. It was cute for the last year and a half that you thought that free money was going to stay around forever. But it's not going to
Well,
stay
some of
around.
it was free. Some of it was free.
Again,
You didn't have to pay back the whole thing.
Hey, man, I didn't take it. I didn't take a penny during the whole bloody thing. And I know lots of people that did. And people pay back certain stuff and don't pay back other stuff and whatever. I didn't take a penny of it. I very much don't think that it's nothing I was interested in. I didn't need it, didn't want to exercise it. And I do know that when governments spend that much money, it screws everybody, right? And I don't know. I have no... Now, here's where I do have sympathy. I shouldn't say I have no sympathy. I have a lot of sympathy.
Some people needed it
for
or their
restaurants
businesses
and things that were in trouble. Yes. Did did Air Canada need it to bonus out their executives? Probably not. Right? So that's where there's a lot of stuff that's coming back to... And then the people that were like, they took it, knew that they would have to pay it back, and then spent it all and had no way to recover it. Like, I don't know. What do you do in that situation? Did you think that on the back end of that, your business was instantly going to get $40,000 a year better? I don't know.
Maybe. Depends on the person.
Yeah, I think, but they keep postponing that too, right?
Here's the deal. This has been fun.
This has been.
But I got to put my child to bed because Steve, I will never miss that. Okay. I already missed dinner tonight, which Steve never misses dinner with his kids.
Never.
I ate dinner here before I started this because I'm working on West Coast time frames. But that was really fun. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. How do you want to wrap this up, Steve?
I want people to click the like button. And if they're watching our channels, by the way, our channels are neck and neck at like 10,000 subscribers just over each. And the podcast channel, of which we do this weekly with sometimes much smarter people than us, only has about 3,000 people on it. So move over to the Tom Storey Show. Subscribe there. Tom, I don't know if you know this. I think I might have texted you. This last week's audio downloads were 50% higher than they were just in July. So the podcast is taking off. We cracked the top 100 this week in business podcasts.
In Apple Business?
Apple Business Podcasts. So I'm stoked about that. I'm sure we'll fall down to about 150 again tomorrow. And but we're starting to hit the charts, and it's all because wonderful people like everybody here is clicking the like button.
You know what? Just to add to that, I get these chartable emails for the podcast, and it tells me where we rank. And yeah, we were 88 in Apple Business Podcasts this week, but we also ranked for total podcasts in Apple Podcasts
450 million.
No, Mongolia. We ranked it. We got listeners there.
We got listeners in Mongolia.
That's what it's telling me.
So they get one podcast in Mongolia, and it's the Tom Storey Show.
I want to apologize to the people of Mongolia for having to deal with us. All right, thank you, everybody. That was fun. Steve, you want to finish with words of wisdom?
I
don't know what is going on here.
I love it. Two extra videos this week. One already lined up for next Monday. We're going extra videos for fun, and I'm excited. I got lots of stuff going on. We're getting into business planning. I think we should do a business planning episode. No one will watch it, but every realtor will. Tom Storey Show, check it out. Click the like button before you go. Thank you so much. You're getting fireworks and everything going on. And I'm going to press stop now and then hope that this doesn't catch our conversation, which we're about to have after, of which we can talk about.